What is up, everybody? It's your boy Anthony Wynn, and I am back at it again today with some Pecha Kucha. This is part of my HCDE 313 class, Introduction to User Research, and I'll be going over my very first user research project on library productivity. Really exciting stuff. So let's get right into it. So I just wanted to go ahead and get right in there and talk about the context. I signed up to explore how students use libraries currently and how they could be used more productively. So I picked ODE, defined the Odegaard Undergraduate Library First Floor Open Space, or OFOS, as any area on the first floor that is not a study room, classroom, writing center, or bathroom, and went to work. So, like I was saying, this was Intro to User Research. And so, for the class itself, I had to do field observations, semi-structured interviews, and then I had to conclude with a survey, which was in the form of a questionnaire. And I'll just get right into it. So I started with field research in three 30-minute sessions. I sat down and wrote this whole elaborate plan of attack, though, before I could even start, for tracking people in the field properly. And when I finally got there, I still had zero expectations, and I thought I'd feel like an explorer in a safari observing people in their natural state, which could be really interesting. But real life was a little less glamorous. I kind of sat down with some coffee and my laptop, looked around for half an hour, took some notes. I don't really know what else I expected beyond people studying. That's exactly what they did. Although sometimes really obnoxious people were being loud from across the library. I couldn't even see them, but I could definitely hear them. So I did write everything down on this giant Excel spreadsheet that you can see here, and I did some calculations and averaging. Saw a few patterns, came to conclusions about phone usage, people's favorite studying spots, group studying, the dynamics, etc., etc. And all of my information from this, though, was basically, I suspect this to be true, but I can't really verify it yet. Which is why I had to do some interviews. So I did three 30-minute semi-structured interviews, and I wanted to figure out why studiers did what I observed in the OFOS. I had a lot of trouble sitting down and thinking of questions, though, especially the follow-ups. And I figured that I'd have a lot more to ask during the actual interviews, so that was a big struggle for me. They turned out pretty much the exact way I expected. So we went to the By George Cafe, sat down, talked a lot, drank some coffee, and I had three participants lined up pretty easily. A lot of them seemed to just want to make the OFOS better for studying, so got a lot of surprising feedback on that. And so then I went in, had to look at my transcripts and go through every interview and annotate them every line for patterns, which was super time consuming. I found that people like using the OFOs to collaborate, but they hate using the outlets because there aren't any. Also, the phone usage, no bueno, not really good for anybody, really distracting. Also had an aha moment, though, when I realized that that's why people sit in packs is because of the outlets. But the question is, can we verify this across the whole population? Well, good thing I asked, so yes, I could. I used a survey to see if people truly think this way. So now to make a questionnaire, how hard can it be? It's only 10 questions, and it takes me, what, like 5 minutes to answer? The answer is very. It is very hard to make even a 10-question survey. I know we talked about it so much in lecture and studio, but dear Lord, that took me so long. I spent a lot of time perfecting these questions that you can see, just the first one, and even then, they definitely were not perfect because you have to account for bias and all these other things that you don't normally consider when you're actually taking it, but when you write it, those are huge. So then I sat and waited for responses to come in. I got up to 18, but I had to throw 3 away because they clearly didn't understand my survey and the data was going to get skewed if I kept it. I also found that making people take my survey, despite being in multiple RSOs full of people who study in the OFOS, was really hard. People just didn't want to take the survey. So I empathize with my marketing major friends who always struggle with getting responses now. Anyway, I did a lot of data analysis and came up with some pretty pictures, some of which are right here. And I was kind of in the zone for this one because I had a lot of background in physics and chemistry, doing labs and such, so data analysis with graphing wasn't that challenging. However, it was also really cool to see that I could do this with people-driven data, not just chemistry and theoretical sciencey stuff. But yeah, even with people data, I could still make some graphs and come up with some interesting semi-polished insights. So first of all, we need more outlets in the OFOS. Yes, the finding from my interviews about insufficient outlets was very validated. There need to be more outlets so that people can charge their laptops. Another finding is that people need to lock their phones away. Nobody across any of my 3 research methodologies indicated in any way that they use phones productively. Yep, so the only thing I could really think of was just to lock everything away and pray that no Amber Alerts come on. Honestly, I can't really think of anything else that's better given what my research has told me so far. Finally, collaboration is helpful in the OFOS. People who study by themselves are more productive than in groups, but collaborating is still a lot better than messing around with friends who are all taking completely different classes. The picture itself is an example of my own final studying with some friends done in the OFOS. More of this, less of people just distracting each other. Ultimately, I think that I've learned a lot about myself and the Odegaard Undergraduate Library First Floor Open Space after this research project. I thought at the beginning of this class that I'd finish by becoming a Sherlock Holmes type of figure in terms of library studying habits, but I'm more like Watson. I've picked up on a lot of things through practice, but I still feel like there's so much left to explore in something as simple as this library. In the greater picture, I also think that I naturally gravitate toward quantitative research methodologies. I felt a lot more zoned in doing my research survey graphs than my interview synthesis. Plus, I even ended up doing some quant work on my field notes, which are supposed to be super qualitative, and in the end, I just like taking quantitative data and making it usable. Finally, I'm reflecting a lot on my work from when I was a lowly high school UX research intern at Carina. This picture is taken on my last day with the team, and I'm proud to say that I know a lot more about user research than I used to. Maybe even one day I'll come back to them as a professional UX researcher. And that is it for today, folks. But before you leave, make sure to like and comment what you think about all this. I enjoyed this project a lot, so you can look forward to more of this in the future. Just be sure to smash that subscribe button.